Welcome to Boss Up Goddess. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, and I interview trailblazing women who share their wisdom to help us all live bigger, better, and bolder. I'm so very proud and honored to introduce to you tonight Dr. Geneva Williams, affectionately known as Dr. Geneva. She is so dynamic, I don't know where to start, but let's just say she's published multiple books. She's a dynamic speaker. She's host of the Ignite to Impact podcast. She has had an illustrious career over 40 years as a nonprofit innovator. And she is on a mission to help women over 50 love our lives.
Mhm.
And she's doing it with such grace and such flair. And let me add, she won a beauty contest over age 60. And so she's just amazing. So, Dr. Geneva Williams, welcome to Boss Up Goddess.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I am just truly honored to be here. I admire you so much and all the fantastic work that you do. And as I say, when anybody mentions your name, I say, oh, I just wish I had the way with words that you have.
Oh,
And just thank you so
oh.
much for having me as your guest.
Oh, I'm honored and delighted. And I know that you are going to inspire our viewers tonight with your wisdom. And it's interesting, we were chatting, and I said I like to use my life as a tool for teaching
Mhm.
others what I've
Yes.
learned. And you're doing exactly that as well. So,
Yes.
w-
Yeah, and I'm telling you, people sometimes say to me, G, a nickname, what is it that you're doing? Why don't you go sit back, relax? You've had a long career working, heading up United Way, running nonprofits. Why would you stop all of that and then switch and start, become an entrepreneur late in life and,
Mhm.
just go relax, retire? But you know what, Elizabeth, I really am on a mission.
Yes.
And I feel that, God is just not through with me yet, and I'm not done yet. And
Yes.
so being able to work with people, particularly women who are over 50, who may be a little uncertain about, what their next steps might be
Mhm.
or what paths they now want to take since they've over half a century years old.
Mhm.
I want to help them, share advice, practical tips, and
Mhm.
things that I've learned and through the mistakes I've made. So it keeps me young, and I am just determined and just living my best life. And I'm having a ball.
I I love it. I love it. So tonight you are going to share three ways that women who are watching can love their life, fall in love with themselves, and have a ball just like you're doing.
Yes. Well,
So,
particularly during this time, as we get, it's around Valentine's Day, and we're always thinking love is in the air. It's also American Heart
mm,
Month, which is an important time. And so, I think love being in the air, it's so great to also remember that we can and should fall in love with ourselves and always be, appreciative of who we are. So, one of the things that I like to share with women to do is to um, change your self talk.
mm,
So, when you we need to talk to ourselves the way we would talk to someone we really care about. When I see my grandchildren and
mhm,
talk with them, I talk to them in the sweetest tone possible, and I'm
mm,
always saying positive things.
mhm,
And we need to do the same thing to ourselves. So as
mm.
we, have conversations with ourselves and let's get rid of the, oh, I'm too this, or I'm not good enough that, or I'm, this is too big, or I've done this or that may be negative, but really change that self-talk so that we talk to ourselves in a sweet, loving, positive tone, the way we would with anybody that we care about. So that's
Oh,
one. I think
mhm,
another thing that I know that I have found to be really lots of fun is to uh, know your talents and gifts. So each one of us has something unique, perhaps several special gifts. We should know them, honor them, respect them, and be proud of them, and talk about them to ourselves and to others. It's okay to brag on yourself. It'd be all right. It really will be.
Uh-huh.
Why not? You should be your biggest cheerleader.
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing, Elizabeth, kind of along with that, is to make a list of your successes, your
Oh.
accomplishments. Anyone
Ooh.
who's lived their life, particularly if you've lived more than half a century, which
Uh-huh.
means you're 50 plus,
Mm-hmm.
you've done something.
Uh-huh.
You've done a lot of somethings,
Yeah.
and probably a lot of positive, successful things.
Mm-hmm.
So take the time to sit down, pull out a piece of paper, and actually write down the things you've accomplished in your life.
Hmm.
It'll be, I bet it's going to be a long list. And just going through that exercise is, it's just fulfilling. It just makes you feel
Mm-hmm.
good. And Elizabeth, you'll fall in love with yourself.
I love that. I love that because the terms self-hate and self-loathing shouldn't exist.
That's
If
right.
you see a puppy or a cat, they are having so much fun. It's like
Uh-huh.
they're just joyous.
Yes,
Why aren't
yes,
people like that? It's time to, I love what you're teaching. I love that it's time to
yes.
wake up and just love life. And the pandemic certainly has shown us that there are no guarantees and lives
Mm-hmm,
can end
mm-hmm,
abruptly. So we
mm-hmm.
need to savor and celebrate every moment. And you're doing that.
Absolutely. And one thing I always say about this pandemic, and we've had many, many people who have really lost and are suffering and have grief and, really are worrying. And we always need to, I believe, reach out and embrace folk who are going through, it's tough times. But it will be over. It is temporary. We are starting to, I'm not sure we'll ever go back to normal,
Mhm. Right.
whatever that normal is. I think it's a
Mhm.
new normal. And I
Yes.
think we can take this opportunity to, okay, take a deep breath and start again.
Mhm.
And so I often ask women, what's your personal action plan for 2021? Because
Ooh.
we are stepping into something new. So what is it that you're going to do to get yourself together? And I know it's stressful. I know there's plenty of worry. Um, but again, we are facing, if you're here and you're listening to us have this conversation, you're blessed. You
Yes.
really
Yes.
are,
Yes. Yes.
because there are many who are not with us today to be able
Mhm.
to say that.
Mhm.
So take those blessings and go ahead and, figure out what you want to do next. What's
Mhm.
your next best step?
I
Yeah,
love that so
yeah,
much. It's easy to get caught in the scariness of the moment, but when you
absolutely.
look at the big picture, and I like to say that the 1918 Spanish flu did end, that
It
pandemic
did.
ended. And what happened after? The Roaring 20s,
Mm-hmm,
where
mm-hmm.
people were ready to party. The women had new hairstyles and
That's right.
dresses and dances. And
That's right.
so I love what you're saying. Get ready for that. Look
That's
forward
right.
to it.
That's right. And we know you're right. It will, and this will, another time will come. And whatever you're doing now to get through it, to survive, to, take care of yourself, to take care of your family, you're doing a good job. Give yourself a pat on the back. I don't think
Yes.
we take enough credit sometimes for what we do. Because, ain't nobody experienced this pandemic before. At least nobody I know has
No,
experienced it. So there
no.
really isn't a rule book. There's no
Mhm,
guidebook. There's no cookbook.
mhm.
So whatever you're doing, it's probably a good thing. You're doing it good. So take some time to give yourself a pat on the back.
Mm,
And again, we're with ourselves forever.
mhm.
It's ourselves.
Mhm.
We live in
Yes.
this body, and it's us. So so whatever you're doing, try to nurture and make that the best
Mm.
thing going.
That's beautiful. It's especially hit women hard as
Yes.
caregivers and
Hmm.
balancing work
Hmm.
and children and grandchildren and perhaps aging parents.
Yes.
So, pampering oneself is something
Hmm.
that is very important.
Hmm.
And even if it's just a few minutes, doing something special for yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's self-care. And as
Hmm.
I tell women all the time, because you're right, Elizabeth, this is the time. I mean, we're all high stressed. I mean, we're all stressed out. So it is absolutely essential that we do self-care. And I like to say that, first of all, self-care ain't selfish. It's
Thank
something
you.
you need to do for yourself, for you, by you, to you.
Ooh.
So I mean, yes. And then I also think that we need to realize two things, Elizabeth. First, that there are many areas of self-care. Some people, when you say self-care, say, "Oh, I ain't got time for a massage." Many people don't have time for a massage. That's okay. But there's a whole lot of other things in your life that you can self-care. Self-care is physical and social and emotional and mental. And so there's various things you can do, everything from reading a book to, enjoying nature, to watching your favorite sitcoms and laughing,
Hmm.
to saying no,
Ooh.
because that's a self-care tip too, to say no, particularly to those things, learn how to be a master of saying no to those things that aren't good for you. So there's
Oh.
all kinds of ways that you can self-care. And then the
Hmm.
second thing, Elizabeth, I always want to share with folk is that one of the ways to make sure that you do take care of yourself, practice good self-care, is to schedule it. Now,
Ooh.
all of us, everybody got a to-do list, and we be
Uh-huh.
scheduling everything for everybody all
Uh-huh.
the time.
Hmm.
And one of the things that we can do for us is to make sure that when we're writing that to-do list or we're scheduling things in our calendar, that we put our self-care in, whatever it is.
Ooh.
Read a book,
Wow.
take time for music, go work out, you
Hmm.
know, whatever it is,
Hmm.
we can actually schedule it. In other
Oh.
words, be intentional about your
Ooh.
self-care so that,
Yes.
if you do things, well, I do things for myself kind of once a month. That's okay. Good. At least you're doing something. Now your goal is to try to do something weekly. Then when you get
Mm.
on that weekly schedule, and
Hmm.
you're a master of that, Elizabeth,
Hmm.
then try to schedule your self-care every day.
I love that
Yeah.
so much. And thank you for saying that it's not selfish.
Right.
Self-care for me also goes down to the fundamentals of getting enough sleep, drinking
Yes.
enough water,
Hmm. Hmm.
eating healthy,
Yes.
staying away from negative content, whether it's music with bad lyrics or people
Hmm.
who
Hmm.
gossip
Hmm.
or too much news.
Absolutely,
Hmm.
absolutely. And they're now saying that it's not only the quantity of sleep, how many hours, and you should get between 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, but
Hmm.
also the quality. So
Mm.
how deep and how good do you sleep?
Hmm.
So in order to do that, we really need to be intentional about when we're getting our sleep, so that we try to sleep in a dark room, wear an eye mask. If I wear an eye mask all the time and block out all of the light, have a routine. So
Yes.
try to go to bed at the same time every night. Try to get up every morning, even on weekends. Try to do, because your body adjusts to that. The body is a wonderful machine, and it adjusts to and appreciates routine. And
Mm.
then you're right, drink that water. I mean, drink that water, get that sleep. And what I do with my water is, I try to drink during the day, but I also have a pitcher of water that I keep right next to on my nightstand, right
Oh.
next to my bed. So
Uh-huh.
one of the first things I
Oh.
do after I meditate, do some prayer, all of that, and drink water. And I love with the pitcher, the
Uh-huh.
pouring of the water, just the
Yes.
sound of it
Yes.
makes me feel
Yes.
good. So we have to do these little things to trick ourselves into these good habits,
Yes.
because
Yes.
doing these good habits will help us live vibrantly.
Mm, I love that. So what you just said, it's mindful living. Who
Yes.
even pays attention to the sound of water pouring out of a
Mhm.
pitcher into a glass? But it's delightful. And when
Yes.
you slow down and you take
Hmm.
note of these tiny moments,
Hmm.
bliss.
Absolutely. And you're right, Elizabeth. I love how you said tiny moments, because sometimes we get overwhelmed with thinking that, oh, there's so much I have to do, so much I have to do to turn around my life, or, oh, I can't. But you could just do one thing, one tiny thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because in doing that one thing, let's say it's, well, I'm going to go to bed every night 9 o'clock. And after you do it for a while, there is a sense of accomplishment. And then you can
Mm.
start to do something else. And then you
Yes.
grow. And that's what life, I think, is really all about,
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth. Finding the
Mm-hmm.
things that work for us, failing, but learning from those mistakes, and then moving on to the next level, and just growing and growing. And,
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorite, Elizabeth, as we talk about, falling in love with ourselves and taking care of ourselves, I just really believe that um, remembering what it was to be a kid is great.
Ooh,
And
yes.
so being a kid again, for me, is one of my favorite ways to de-stress and to fall in love with myself.
Ooh.
So yeah, I watch cartoons. I do. And I have coloring books.
Oh,
And
yes.
about a month or so, when the weather was good, my grandchildren were outside and they were playing, they had drawn the lines for hopscotch. And so
Uh-huh.
I came out, and I said, oh, I can do this. They
Uh-oh.
looked at me, I said, oh. So I started jumping and twisting and turning. I felt a little funny afterwards, but I had a ball. But
Oh,
doing
wow.
doing those things that, because Elizabeth, when you think back to when you were a kid,
Yes.
all you worried about, quote unquote, was, who you were going to play hopscotch with,
Right, right,
or
right.
what cartoon you were going to watch, or,
Uh-huh.
what puzzle you were going to do with, that was the extent of your worry. And
Uh-huh.
so us taking time to go back and remembering and honoring that inner child
Mhm.
within us, and not being afraid to laugh and
Yes.
smile, because
Yeah.
there is research that
Mhm.
does say that laughing
Mhm.
and laughter and constantly being joyous,
Mhm.
full of joy,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know um is a stress buster. So we
Mhm.
know that.
Mhm.
So there are laugh stations like on Sirius. When you go into if you went into my car now and saw the pre-recorded stations, one of them
Uh-huh.
is Laugh USA.
What?
And sometimes when I'm driving, I'll just punch that. And I'm driving and I'm thinking this and I'm worrying, and how that worry, it just be round and
Right.
around in your head,
Yes.
the
Yes.
what ifs,
Mhm.
what if this, what if that, and it
Mhm.
just creates this worry thing that you really can't control. One of the ways that I control it is to punch that laugh station. And in a few minutes, I'm just laughing, and,
Is
kind of
it
puts things in perspective.
Dr. Geneva, is it comedians or what is it? What's on the station?
It's a whole series. This is Laugh USA, and I think on Sirius, it's I think the station is 98 or 93. I'm not sure, because it's
Mhm.
there for me automatically. But it's a
Mhm.
series of little sketches by a whole
Mhm.
variety of
Mhm.
comedians.
Mhm.
And most of them are funny. I would
Uh-huh.
just be cracking up.
Uh-huh.
Some aren't, real funny, but most of them are really funny.
Mhm.
I'd be laughing.
I love that so much. It's really important to just, some people might think these kinds of things are frivolous, and
Oh,
there's been such somber news, the
mhm,
Black Lives Matter protests, the
mhm, mhm,
Me Too movement, the equality and justice protests, the election,
mhm,
January 6th, right at the Capitol.
mhm,
All
mhm.
this stuff is, and not to mention the pandemic, the economic uncertainty, homeschool,
Yes.
all these things make it all the more important, Dr. Geneva, to practice the things that you're saying,
Mhm.
because we need the balance and the,
Absolutely. And I don't believe, Elizabeth, that our lives are either or propositions. I think they're
mm,
both and. I can
mm-hmm,
tell you these things, these tips, and I do them. I laugh. I try to figure out ways every day I can take care of myself.
mm-hmm,
I do a lot of these things. And I also volunteer in my community. I
mm-hmm,
speak up on social issues. I
mm-hmm,
blog. I write about things.
mm-hmm,
I have an agenda for change and have over the years that I've
mm-hmm,
been fighting for and helping people get access to opportunity. My
mm-hmm,
dad, the book that I wrote about my dad,
mm-hmm,
who struggled for years, who fought, who had hate mail and death threats, who fought to get the home that he lived in so that he could change housing discrimination laws. I follow he fought. He was a warrior. He fought, an ordinary man who did extraordinary things and was able to, he raised his family. He was
mm-hmm,
very jovial. He laughed. He was a
mm-hmm,
loving man.
mm-hmm,
You can in life, I believe, have, things that you can do that aren't either or.
mm-hmm.
You don't, but no matter what you do, I think in order to do the things that you want to do, you have to develop yourself. You have to
Mm,
make sure you yourself are um, that you're whole and you're fresh and you have that spirit of giving and loving and you
mhm,
have faith and you're taking care of yourself, and particularly for women,
mhm.
because we in fact are, we are caregivers. I mean,
Yes.
we take care of others, and I see that as a good thing. I
Mhm,
really do,
mhm,
because of our spirits, our nurturing, our caring.
mhm.
I see that as a good thing. And at the same time that we're taking care of others and giving and helping to change the world and nations, we also have to take care of ourselves. Drink while we pour. While we're pouring into others, we have to drink ourselves,
Ooh.
the self-care, the
Mhm,
taking care of us, so that in
mhm,
fact, we can take care of our children and our families
mhm.
and change the world.
Oh,
So I do think
yes.
it's a both and.
Yes. Woohoo!
Yes, yes, we can do it.
I love that so much. Your spirit absolutely sparkles. It's so invigorating to talk with you and rejuvenating.
Thank
Where
you.
You're welcome. So where can women join what you're doing and get more of you and learn more from you?
Well, I have a Facebook group. It's
Uh-huh.
called Extraordinary Women Influencers. Isn't that
Ooh.
phenomenal?
I
Yes, yes,
love
yes.
it.
Because we are. And I started it because, I really do believe, one of my favorite quotes from Mary McLeod Bethune is after God, we're indebted most to women. First, for making life possible,
Mhm.
and secondly, for making life worth living.
Ooh, that is so beautiful. I have chills.
So,
Wow.
women, I believe, have a unique, extraordinary opportunity to influence the world. I mean, look at what
Mm.
happened in this last election.
Yes, yes, yes,
Look at
yes.
that.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm,
We, um, we can make change, we can influence things,
mhm,
and we are the caretakers of
mhm,
children and others. So it's absolutely critical that we take care of ourselves, okay? So that we can
Yes.
fulfill that mission. So in our group, this group, Extraordinary Women Influencers on
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
we talk about women's issues, tips, inspirational quotes. We do a lot of polls on, what do you think is happening? What do you want to hear about? Polls. What do you think about, where women can exchange ideas and express their opinions, etc. So I would love for anyone who's interested to go to Facebook and join that Extraordinary Women Influence Facebook. And then, of course, people can connect with me through my email community by going to my website,
Mm-hmm.
drgenevaspeaks.com.
It's an
And so
excellent website.
I do coaching and I
Mm-hmm.
speak, and
Mm-hmm.
I, do some one-on-one consultations, and I have a podcast. So I'm just
Yes.
trying to keep busy and just really sharing what I've been blessed to learn in
Mm-hmm.
this life that I've had. And I'm getting ready to, celebrate another birthday in March. So I'm just so
Oh,
blessed.
happy
Yes, I'm
birthday.
blessed for that. So,
Yes.
when you hit the 50s, you come into all kinds of things. And I know then when you hit the 60s, I can share with you that. And then when I hit the 70s, it's a whole new world,
Mm-hmm.
but it's our world. We can make it our world, and we can still keep living vibrantly.
Oh, I love that so much. So, do you coach women? Like, could a woman come to you and say, I want you to show me how you do what you do?
Yes.
I want to be like you.
Yes, I do. I do. And so when you go to my website, Dr. Geneva Speaks, there's a section there if you want to, just have some time to coach for coaching sessions. And it can be, that what's traditionally, sometimes a 3 to 6 month thing. But I also have the opportunity where if you just want to chat for an hour or
Mm-hmm.
have a couple of hour
Mm-hmm.
sessions.
Mm-hmm.
We'll really take care of business now.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take care of business,
I love
and
it.
and I'm really um, the mission that I'm on now really is specifically focused on helping, particularly women, develop make sure they have a personal action plan,
Ooh.
so that they have their vision, their goals, the steps. They've got self-care built into what they're doing. And so I'll be working with AARP
Mm.
starting in March on 3 virtual events in March, April, and May to help people you know, develop their personal action plans and get ready, set, go for 2021.
Oh, I love that. So, does the personal action plan
Mhm.
encompass their professional goals as well as their personal aspirations?
Absolutely, because one of the things we know, we've got to really always be intentional about is that none of us are one dimensional or play
No.
one role. We have
Mm-hmm.
lots of roles.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we think about the areas of our life, the finances, our relationships, our family, our career, our business, there's various aspects, our spiritual life, various aspects of our life. And a personal action plan would take into account all of these areas and kind of figure out, well, where do you want to be in each one of them?
Ooh.
And and so it's just an important thing, I think, to have. And Elizabeth, your personal action plan changes as you go through various stages in your life, because what
Mm-hmm.
you thought was important when you was in your 20s, trust, don't make a bit of difference when you're 50. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's natural that things, would change as you go. So one of the things I teach in developing a personal action plan is how to be able to adjust and reimagine your plan as you go through various stages of your life.
Mm,
So that I think is so important. And like I said, it involves vision, your goals, how to build in self-care, how you can be an influence, not only in your life, but influence an influencer, not necessarily the social media type influences,
mhm,
but an influencer who can make a difference in your community and world. And
mhm,
so I think that's an important part, how we give back, how we help
mhm,
to change
mhm,
community conditions is an important part of your personal action plan.
mm,
So these are the various elements that
mhm.
we can go through and learn and help us achieve and be more successful, whatever success is defined for you to be, and to
Yes.
live a vibrant life.
Mhm. Is that AARP program open to the public?
It is, Elizabeth. It's the first
Oh,
session is, I think the date is March 11th.
okay.
But I can, of course, share the specifics with you,
Yes.
and I will.
Okay.
But I think the first session is March 11th, but we'll be doing one in March, April, and May. And
Okay.
it will be for the Michigan AARP, but the
Oh,
national ARP is interested in it. And so you'll be able to go to
oh,
their
good.
register, their
Okay.
national register, and anyone
Mhm.
in the country can sign up for it.
Oh, beautiful. What
Oh,
better
that's
person to
exciting.
have leading it
Oh
than
yeah,
Dr.
I'm
Geneva
thrilled.
Williams?
I'm so thrilled because I got into this. I switched my from being in nonprofit world for over 40 some years into this world of entrepreneurship,
Yes.
because I wanted to have more control, more opportunity, more leverage to be
Mhm.
able to get my message out and to be able
Yes.
to help more people. And I I wanted to do it my way.
Ooh.
And so, I made a ton of mistakes. Oh my gosh, but I'm still, I'm still hanging in there.
Mhm.
And, I was just recognized by the National Association of Women Business Owners as one of the top 10 business women in Michigan. And so
Oh, wow.
thank you. I
Congratulations.
guess I'm kind of moving in the right direction, but every day is a challenge
Mhm.
when you're in business.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations for
Thank
that
you.
tremendous honor.
Thank you. It only came
Wow.
because there were so many people who um, helped me, who showed me the way. My husband used to say to me all the time before he passed, um, if you when people would come to him and say, well, would you volunteer for this, or would you do something, giving back in your community, he'd always send them to me and say that I was his community contribution because I was in philanthropy and nonprofits for so many years.
Oh,
And he
wow.
would say that the world of business was rough and tough, and that he wasn't sure I could survive in that. So I had a lot to prove, but I'm still here and I'm
Mm.
still standing and I'm having a ball. I'm having a ball making mistakes, turning around, pivoting, transit, doing all of that and learning so much.
Yes, and teaching us all in at the same time. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Wow. Dr. Geneva Williams, you are amazing. I'm so honored to talk with you. I've
Well,
learned so
thank you.
much this evening. I hope I'm going to put the link to your Facebook group
Oh, please. Yes.
and your website. And
Okay.
if you
Oh,
can send
thank
me
you.
the March 11th AARP event, so
Okay.
people can learn from you there as well. Those will all be in the description box so people can join you and learn more and be inspired by all that you're teaching.
Okay. Thank you. Oh,
You're
that's
so
so exciting. I
welcome.
appreciate that. I'm very grateful. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Sure. Is there anything else you'd like to share this evening?
Just that I wish everyone well, to stay safe,
Mhm.
continue to, um, you know, practice social distancing, wearing masks, thinking about others, and taking care of yourself. And
Yes.
just continue to do that and be the best that you can. Congratulate yourself, continue to pat yourself on the back, and live a vibrant life.
Ooh, wow. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you, Dr. Geneva Williams, for
Thank you.
joining me here on Boss Up Goddess, because
Ooh,
you are
I
a
love it.
boss, you are
Ooh,
a goddess.
okay. All right, I'll take it.
When I say goddess, I mean a woman who is empowered in mind, body, and spirit,
I love it. Yes.
and being a positive influence for herself and the world.
Mhm,
And you're
mhm.
surely doing that. So thank you very much for sharing your wisdom with us tonight.
Thank you. It's been
You're
my pleasure.
welcome. Thank you. And thank you, all of you, for joining us tonight on Boss Up Goddess, where you got to meet Dr. Geneva Williams and learn all that she's doing with such joy and grace. Please do join all the things that she's offering this evening, and you can check out the description box to learn more. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, host of Boss Up Goddess. Remember, you have the power. I'll see you next time.